Throughout its long history, Major League Baseball has operated under the premise that no single person is bigger than the game. No single person other than Jackie Robinson. Number 42, from this day forward, will never again be issued by a major league club.
Today, I think every American should say a special word of thanks to Jackie Robinson and to the members of the Dodger team who made him one of their own and proved that America is a better, stronger, richer country when we all work together and give everyone a chance.
Wow, it gives you goosebumps just watching. Welcome to MLB Tonight, presented by Camping World, alongside Harold Reynolds and Dan Plesac via NTT Home Plate Cam. I am Fran Charles. And guys, as we celebrate the 73-year anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier, that footage was from 1997, 50 years after Jackie played his first major league game. And former Commissioner Bud Selig is there, the number 42, retired forever. You saw President Bill Clinton and Rachel Robinson as well. Harold, what are your thoughts on Jackie Robinson Day?
Well, I was fortunate to be there that night. It was so cool to be with the Robinson family and President Clinton, as well as Commissioner Selig, when that happened. And, you know, because of that day, retiring that number, today you're wearing number 42, Fran, and Dan and I both have on our Brooklyn Dodger jerseys. I don't think that happens without that day. I look at Jackie, and the one thought that stands out for me as the years have gone by is he not only broke the color barrier, but when you're that one, that pioneer that's moving forward, to pass the torch, he knew what was behind him. You know, from 1949 when he won the MVP to 1962 when Maury Wills won the MVP, that there was only 3 players that were not African American that won the MVP. That was the impact of those players that were going to be coming out of the Negro Leagues, from Campanella to Newcomb to Willie Mays to Hank Aaron. I mean, it's incredible. So he knew what the pipeline was behind him and how important it was that he broke that color barrier. And that put an enormous amount of pressure on him. But I think it also engaged him to stand up to the things he did because he knew what was behind him. So, Dan, that's kind of my thoughts today on Jackie Robinson Day. What do you think about with your Brooklyn jersey on today?
You know, rockin' Brooklyn. You know, Harold, baseball has done a lot of great things in the last 25 to 30 years. And I give former Commissioner Bud Selig a lot of credit. One of the greatest things in his era was Jackie Robinson Day. And from the MLB Network perspective, you can see that today's players really look forward to Jackie Robinson Day wearing that number 42. He was the first. He was a pioneer. He opened up a lot of doors. And I think a lot of the young players in baseball today get the significance and the importance that Jackie Robinson played, not only in the game of baseball, but American culture. And it is a legacy that hopefully will continue to get bigger and better as the years go on.
Hey, you were there, but you know who else was there? We saw in that montage off the top of the show was Spike Lee. And there's no bigger sports fan in Hollywood or here in New York when it comes to that Hollywood-esque nature than Spike Lee. And at that time, we didn't realize how close we were to a Jackie Robinson movie that was written and produced and directed by Spike. Well, let Spike tell you in his own words.
We all had a lot of time to think about stuff, our life, what happened, what didn't happen. And I began to think about one of my dream projects. I wrote a script for Jackie Robinson. I wanted Denzel to play Jackie, but Denzel said he was too old. And I pulled this script out of the vault. And so I'm going to share the script with you. And also, don't worry about it if you don't like baseball or sports. This is a great American story. And never got made, but I want to share the script with you. Jackie Robinson. And the date is, it's the 5th draft, 1996. Jackie Robinson. Hope you enjoy it. If you don't, that's all right too. Just never get it made. I want to share this script with you. Thank you. Be safe. Be safe. Social distancing. Peace.
How cool is this? We got the official of Spike Lee with this. Spike, it's Fran, Dan, and Harold. First off, I hope the family is safe. But the first
Everybody's
question for
good.
me, perfect, lovely. On this
And everybody
celebration of Jackie
good?
Robinson.
Everybody's good?
Yeah, dynamite.
On this celebration, Spike, of Jackie Robinson, why didn't we get a Spike Lee joint on this? I mean, you teased us a little bit there, releasing the script, and that would have been awesome.
Well, I wrote the script back in 1996. Malcolm X came out in 92, so I wanted to do another biopic. And I chose Jackie Robinson, who, without question, was one of the most important Americans in American history. And my approach was to do an epic like Malcolm X. I did not just want to concentrate on the year 1947, where him and Branch Rickey broke the color barrier. I wanted to do about his whole life. And the powers that be thought otherwise, and the rest is history.
Hey, Spike, it's Harold here.
What's up?
You, man, you're always up. Hey, my question for you is, when did you first learn about Jackie Robinson? We all have a different introductory time to Jackie and different times in our lives. What about you? When did you learn, and who taught you about Jackie?
Here's the story. My love of sports comes from my father. My love of cinema comes from my mother. My father hated Hollywood films, so I was the firstborn. I was my mother's movie date. So all my love of Jackie came from my father, and I got to meet Jackie Robinson. Late in his years, he did the radio for LIU basketball. The gym was on the corner of right across the street from Junior's, Flatbush and DeKalb. And my father pushed me up to him and says, "Spike, that's Jackie." And Jackie put his head in my, little head and said, "Nice to meet you, son." True story. And over the years, I got to be very close with Rachel and his wife, who's still alive, God bless, and also daughter Sharon. So very personal to me, the Jackie Robinson family.
Hey, Spike, it's Dan. You've been around some very influential people, sports, Hollywood. I try to tell myself, if I was in Jackie Robinson's shoes, have you ever thought about, could you have handled what he went through with the dignity that he went through?
No.
Yes.
Hell no. I just said, Branch, I can't do it. Come on, you know me. And my mouth, to be honest, my mouth got me in a lot of trouble too, so I was not the right guy. Branch Rickey picked the right person. It wasn't me.
We're glad about that, Spike.
What Branch Rickey did, combined, that team, Branch Rickey and Jackie Robinson, changed the face of America for the better.
And to your point, Spike, I mean, it not just baseball, but like you said, I mean, America for the better, because Jackie breaking the color barrier in baseball.
I mean, Martin Luther King told Jackie that. I mean, it was, people knew.
Yeah, I think, Spike, when you look back on a history and that time with segregation, I've been thinking a lot about Jackie, who comes from California, went to UCLA.
Pasadena.
And the most impressive thing to me was what he endured. He knew what was coming behind him. He knew there was a Monty Irvin. He knew there was a Willie Mays.
Whoa.
Hank
Willie Mays. Wait, let's go to the Dodgers first. Campanella, Don Newcomb, Jim Gilliam, second base. So,
Joe Black.
Also, here's another thing people don't remember. Roberto Clemente was in the Dodger organization. But the theory is they had too many blacks, and he went to Pittsburgh. Clemente was in the Dodger organization.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
Yeah, it's amazing. And my point is, he knew what he was going to have to endure because he saw what was coming behind him. He knew all these players were coming. And to be in a league, in the Negro Leagues, and see that talent, he knew they were better than the players he was playing against in LA, in Brooklyn. So it's pretty amazing what he's gone through.
And in my script, we have a great relation between Satchel Paige and Jackie. And Satchel was heartbroken that he was not the first, but he was at the end of his career.
And one other point, too, I know you said, Spike, that the script was going to concentrate not just on what he did from a baseball perspective, but before and after. And,
right.
And a lot of people don't know this. Jackie was Rosa Parks before Rosa Parks. He had an incident where he refused to go to the back of the bus, and it cost him.
Yeah, he got caught, almost got thrown out of the Army. But here's the thing, though, is that if you see Jack, there's great footage of Jackie Robinson where he said he hoped that one day there will be a black manager. If you look at that, you would think that he's 80 years old. He's 51. Yeah. He was like 51, 52 when he died. He paid a price. I think that keeping all that in him killed him. I mean, nowhere in the world he should have been gone at 51, 52. But he had to keep that in him. He made a promise. I mean, I think the first 3 or 4 years, he was in handcuffs. After that, he went loose. But those years where he had to keep the promise, the branch, so it would not mess up what they called the great experiment. And I think it cost him his life.
All right, Spike. Well, if you dust off the script, I know Denzel said he felt, he was too old, but I mean, Harold's available. I mean, I know Harold will be interested.
Hey, just saying.
Well,
I can still do that. I got his stance.
I know you got it, but for now, it's just going to be a script.
There you go.
Well, Spike, look,
good stuff. I'm at peace with that.
Well, one of the great all-time filmmakers, Spike Lee, spending some time with us as we celebrate the 73rd anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier. Spike, thank you, and may your family be safe through this ordeal.
Please, please, please. Jackie Robinson, one of Brooklyn's finest.
And coming up, more on Brooklyn's finest on his day, Jackie Robinson Day. Up next, we'll hear from Jackie's wife, Rachel, on the day he played his first Major League game, April 15th, 1947. That's next. Welcome back to MLB Tonight, presented by Camping World. Well, today, Major League Baseball honoring the life and career of Hall of Famer Jackie Robinson, who broke the color barrier on April 15th, 1947. Day that had impact far beyond baseball. And we thought it'd be interesting to focus specifically on that historic April day at Ebbets Field in Brooklyn. And who better to talk about it than Jackie's wife, Rachel.
The night before, we didn't talk about the game. We talked about our living arrangements. As it happens, we had not found an apartment. And so we were living at the McAlpin Hotel on Broadway with an infant. Jackie Jr. was still an infant. So we were caught up in our domestic affairs. And after thinking about it years later, I think that we allowed that to happen because it kept us from being anxious about the game. It was a cold day. He left early that morning because they had things to do, and he left without me. So I had to make the arrangements myself. And what I didn't know was that all cabbies don't want to go to Brooklyn. So I stood on the road in front of the hotel for quite a while, trying to get transportation to the ballpark. It was a big crowd. Before I got to my seat, I went to the hot dog stand and had them heat up the baby's bottle. And then I went to my seat. I got very caught up in the baby, you know. And then I was worried about him being cold, so a lady nearby offered to put him under her fur coat. And when she took him, then I could concentrate on the game. In Brooklyn, the fans were always on Jack's side. So he got a very rousing ovation, you might say. I remember very little of the game. I watched Jack for the most part. I was concentrating on him. And I was worried about how he would perform under pressure. No one knew how he was going to perform, even though he was a great athlete. And when Jack scored that winning run, I was excited to go down to meet him and to hug him and tell him how proud I was of him. I went down there and met him after the game outside the clubhouse. And there were people there waiting to get autographs, and he always paid attention to those people. And particularly the gray-haired little ladies who collected their autographs and want to have a picture with him or whatever. And he always thought that they were the heart of the fanship, so he would take time to do that. When I think back on that day, I have a feeling of having survived something important. We had gone to such lengths to suppress our anxiety about that day that when we got to the ballpark and it was a reality, we knew that we were a part of something in a permanent way.
And now, from the words of Jackie's wife, Rachel, let's check in with Jackie's daughter, Sharon, who joins Harold and myself. And Sharon is an educational consultant for Major League Baseball and also a longtime author. Sharon, always great to spend a little time with you. What does this day mean for you, Jackie Robinson Day?
You know, it is a special day, Fran. And this year is especially special because we're all being safe at home, and at the same time, we're trying to communicate with our friends and loved ones and let everyone know that we care about them, we're thinking about them, praying for them. So today, to remember Jackie Robinson, both such a courageous man, great father, wonderful husband, and a activist. It's just a time for us to reconnect with history and remember that he overcame barriers in life and taught us that barriers are part of life, and here we are. This is a major worldwide barrier that hopefully will bring us together as a people.
Hey, Sharon, I was talking earlier in our open in the first block about that night when Commissioner Seelig and President Clinton were there when they retired the number. And just, yes. I remember being there with you and your mom and the whole family. But it has really almost like put the foot on the accelerator since that day. In my mind, we've learned so much more about Jackie Robinson, about the importance of this day and what he did crossing the color barrier. I'm just curious, what has it done since that day for you being involved with the foundation and continue to keep your dad's legacy out there?
Well, it's been great for us. The Jackie Robinson Foundation is 43 years young, and we've done incredible work building youth leaders across the country, and now we're sending them out globally, and they're doing special work internationally. And today we don't have a physical Jackie Robinson museum yet, but we have a virtual one. So today, players and myself are reading from one of my books, Jackie Robinson, American Hero. So it's a voices out there helping kids understand that he was a great baseball player, an incredible barrier breaker, but he was also an activist and a great father and husband. So we're trying to look at the total man this year.
Sharon, you were just 7 years old when your father retired. So what are your greatest memories of your dad outside of baseball?
I'm coming home and us talking about what was happening in the civil rights movement. And then ultimately we as a family found a way to work together on raising money through our jazz at our home. And the day we went to the March on Washington is, probably one of the most memorable days of my life. So I really did know him first as a dad, and then as the baseball player. I got to know him through many people's eyes over the years, and watching footage of him. Not so much for me remembering being at a ballpark. But I do have a great memory from the last time we were together, Fran. It was in October 1972 in Cincinnati, and it was our last family gathering. And my dad was being honored for the 25th anniversary, and that's when he makes that pronouncement about, we need to move beyond the playing field and move up the ladder and get a black manager in here.
Yeah, I tell you, it's been some powerful moments in your life, and being able to be around him. I admire that. I admire what you and your mom continue to do. Tell us a little bit more before we let you go about the education, about the importance of the things you've pointed out in his life and grabbed hold of and been able to run and champion with essays and everything else with youngsters out there.
Thank you. So, I've been really blessed to have worked with Major League Baseball for the past 25 years, and doing a program called Breaking Barriers in Sports and Life, where we actually help kids understand the importance of self-confidence, moving beyond obstacles in life, and gaining from our experiences, our mistakes, our challenges, and being stronger as people. And that's we have heard from children all over the country, in Canada and some in Puerto Rico. So we understand what kids are going through, and also we are inspired by their courage. The National Essay Contest, reaches tens of thousands of kids. We actually are not doing it this year, Harold. We are, doing some, again, online activities with children around the Breaking Barriers program. And then my work as an author is just a wonderful way for me to connect with children and share stories about my family, about my dad, and at the same time encourage them to develop a voice of their own.
Sharon, we hope you've enjoyed the day on MLB Network and across all our digital platforms as we've relived some of the great moments of your father's life. And thank you for sharing your father with the world. I mean, we really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me on. And thank you, both of you guys, for being on television and inspiring our children.
Amen. Royalty, Mrs. Robinson. Royalty you are. So we thank you for living the legacy, keeping it alive. Appreciate you and your mom.
Thank you. Appreciate you too.
All right, the great Sharon Robinson joining us on MLB Tonight. And when we come back, we'll take a look at Howie Kendrick, who had a career year, a World Series champion, and also what Howie's thoughts are on Jackie Robinson. That's next.
MLB Tonight is presented by Camping World, making RVing fun and easy since 1966. Visit campingworld.com today.
To the warning track, to the wall, it's a grand slam! Howie Kendrick has done it! They're going crazy in the Nationals dugout here in the 10th inning of Game 5. Do you believe it?
Howie Kendrick strikes again.
Kendrick delivers the clutch 2-out hit.
Nationals on top. Howie Kendrick has made it 3-2.
And this one is gone. Howie Kendrick has done it again, as Howie Kendrick has provided his signature moment in the World Series.
Yeah, back on MLB Tonight with Dan and Harold. I'm Fran. Pleased to be joined by, how's this sound, Howie? You get tired of this? The 2019 World Series champ, NLCS MVP, Howie Kendrick. How are you, sir?
Hey, what's up, fellas? Thanks for having me on, man. That never gets old. I think they've been replaying those every day. Guys have been watching them on Facebook. Everybody's been watching them on the Masson. And, we don't get them unless we get on Facebook because I'm out in Arizona. So, I keep hearing everything, and everybody else keeps texting me. They DM me on Instagram, so I get to relive it quite a bit.
Hey, Howard, before we dive in talking about Jackie Robinson here, take us back through that home run, because you had some at-bats against that same pitcher, And were you sitting on that or what? Take us through that home run.
You know what? He got me out every other time before that throughout the World Series. And, you know, I told Joe Dillon after he struck me out at home, he kind of fist pumped me and looked into our dugout and yelled. And I told Joe Dillon, I said, man, I just got to get me one down. I said, I'm going to get him if I can get one down. And, you know, he made a heck of a pitch. I mean, Will Harris is nasty, but right there he made a pitch I could actually get to. You know, he was throwing him up the whole series. I wasn't able to get the barrel to him, but I knew if I could get one down, I could try to do something with it. And, you know, it came at the right time.
Danny woke him up with a fist pump. Danny woke him up with a fist pump.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Howie. I'm all into bat flips, but I'm going to tell you what I'm into.
Oh, you know what? I love driving cars, and Adam Eaton's the same way. You know, and we kind of came up with that. We were in Atlanta, and it was right about the time we started playing well. We went to the Porsche driving experience. And Adam goes, man, maybe we should come up with something where we drive cars every time we hit a homer. So I just kind of caught on, and everybody caught on to it, man. And, you know, every time we run into fans, they're like, hey, let me see you, rev it up, rev it up. So people really call on to it, and it's kind of become our thing now.
Hey, you know, it's not a good thing for a pitcher, but I found myself watching in games hoping you would go deep because I wanted to see that.
Oh, that's you and everybody else. I mean, when we're having fun like that, you know, and just celebrating, I mean, that's when we're the loosest, you know. We had a lot of guys that had a blast, and, you know, when GP came over, he had an infectious, he was infectious to our team. You know, he brought a lot of excitement. He brought the baby shark, and then guys just started having fun. We were relaxing, we were winning games, and we didn't care if we were behind. You know, we just kind of went out and played, and, you know, it kind of became our thing where we came back from behind a lot. But, you know, when we started 19-31, that kind of opened us up a little more. You know, we knew we could go out and play and win ball games. You know, even if we were down and out, we had guys that stepped up, had big hits throughout the year, and it just kind of became our thing. We didn't really worry about being down in a series or being down in a game because we knew we had a chance to come back.
Howie, we've been spending all day here at MLB Network and across all our platforms here honoring the late, great Jackie Robinson. What did Jackie mean to you?
You know what? To be able to grace the field, you know, that's what it means to me, is be able to go out on the field and not have to worry about things. You know, he endured a lot of stuff, you know, the racism, the threats, and, you know, he endured a lot coming out, you know, into baseball, being the first African-American player. And, you know, he paved the way for all of us, you know, and to be able to wear 42, I'm going to miss that the most this year, because to me, that's the biggest day in the game, you know, because that's the reason why I'm playing this game, because of what he did and his ability to, you know, to hold his tongue and to know that there was something bigger at work. And I think MLB did it right by picking the right guy to, you know, usher us into the game of baseball. And I think it's, you know, his legacy is carried on every year by us playing, by every black player that's in MLB, African-American guy playing. And even other guys, you know, he's influenced a lot of other guys, you know, the Roberto Clementes, and, you know, I follow all those guys, man. And I think that his path that he chose and the way he came into the game and he did what he had to do, it paved the way for every one of us.
You know, Howie, it was fun having a big league career, and I'm not jealous about really hardly anything when I look at guys. The only thing I'm really kind of disappointed in, we didn't get to wear 42. Me and Dan, our whole generation, but you guys did. So what's that like, wearing 42 and getting a chance to wear that number?
You know, one of the proudest moments in my career was being in LA and being able to wear number 42, because that's where he played. You know, he was a Dodger, and having the opportunity to be a Dodger and to wear 42. And I have photos of me playing second base wearing number 42. And I have this picture that somebody gifted to me of Jackie Robinson turning a double play. And it's an original photo of him turning the double play. And I'll never forget it. It's a picture of me turning the double play, jumping up the same way. And it's Justin Upton sliding underneath me, taking me out. But we ended up turning the double play as well. So I have those framed side by side, and I get to look at that in my office every day. You know, I come in here and I have a Jackie poster. I have some Jackie Robinson first game tickets. I've got all kinds of Jackie Robinson stuff that I collect here and there. People are like, man, why do you collect all this stuff? I'm like, only people that I really admire and, you know, Hall of Fame guys. And for me, you know, it just means that much to me that he was able to to do what he did. And, you know, I wear number 47, and I believe 47 was his first year in the big leagues. I don't wear 47 because of that, but I think it makes it that much more special.
That's
Well,
pretty cool
47,
stuff.
he was the rookie of the year, so there definitely is a connotation there. And I know Dan said he'd love to ride shotgun with you. I don't know if Dan can fit in a Ferrari or a Lambo with you pushing, Howie. So I don't know how that's going to work out. But
Hey,
thanks
don't
for
worry,
spending
Dan
time
can
with us.
fit because I'm not either one of those guys. I'm a Porsche guy, man. And Porsche, they got plenty of room for everybody. So,
There
you
you
know,
go.
but
All right.
anytime you want to take a ride, Dan, you let me know, man.
Let's do it. World Series champ, Howie Kendrick, spending some time with us. Howie, we appreciate it. Going to take a break here on MLB Tonight, and when we come back, we'll continue a look back at the great Jackie Robinson's career through the eyes of Ken Griffey Jr. Harold sits down with the kid. That's next. Welcome back to MLB Tonight, presented by Camping World.
From the Seattle Mariners, Ken Griffey Jr.
Amazing catch by Jr.
Ken Griffey Jr. He is unbelievable.
Here is Jr. to third base. They're going to wave him in. I don't believe it.
He was so good and so natural that it didn't even seem like he was working.
Fly away. My, oh my.
He is the one man they should put a statue up outside of Safeco Field.
Fran Charles back with you on our NTT home plate cam. Ken Griffey Jr., first ballot Hall of Famer back in 2016. And obviously, Jackie Robinson, a big influence on Griff Jr.'s career. Recently, he spent some time with his former teammate and good buddy, Harold Reynolds.
Junior, thank you, man. How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Good. How's the Hall of Fame and retirement and all that?
I don't do nothing. I just sit at home, chase kids still. It is what it is.
Well, we're here to talk about Jackie Robinson.
Fans will never forget the sight of Jackie Robinson hurrying for the plate on his daring steal.
And celebrating Jackie Robinson Day, it's kind of hard to do without talking to Ken Griffey Jr.
Here's a look at the young superstar of the Seattle Mariners, Ken Griffey Jr.
Bang. Did he know it? Absolutely. Right center on the run. Griffey, great catch.
Put that one on the Ken Griffey highlight reel.
And for those of you at home that don't know, you see all the players wearing number 42. That was a brainchild of this guy. So I want to talk to you about that. How did that come about? The number had been retired, and players were picked out every now and then to wear 42. How did it come about all of them are wearing 42?
I wore it a couple times prior to that while I was in the Mariner uniform. And every year they celebrate it. And I'm like, how you gonna celebrate something and not wear his number and honoring him and not wear the number? And so I called Bud at home.
Called him at his house.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Seeley.
Yeah, I was like, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? I said, like, would it be possible if I wore 42 on Jackie Robinson Day? And he says, we had like a 10-minute conversation. He said, hey, is it okay if I call Rachel to make sure it's okay? And I was like, absolutely. And he called me back the next day. He says, we're a go, but, can everybody wear it? I said, the more the merrier. And he said, I think it's good that everybody on that day wears it. I said, perfect. To have everybody do it, I didn't think it was going to go that far. And wasn't thinking that big, but it's been an unbelievable thing since day one.
When you saw and played your first game with everybody wearing number 42, what was that like?
It was almost like Little League, because in Little League, the first year you ain't got no numbers on your back, and then all of a sudden, you got the team name on the front or whoever you played for on the front and no name on the back, and then all of a sudden you go in there and when you look at the lineup card, it just say 42, 42, 42, 42, and it was very touching and very special. But it was a little weird because you know these guys by their numbers and just look at them and go, okay.
You were always out in front of innovation. And now we see all the crazy shoes everybody wears on that day. They all doctor it up on top of wearing 42. So I'm curious, had Ken Griffey Jr. doctored up his shoes, what would it have looked like?
I still doctor them up. I got a shoe coming out next year with for Jackie Robinson Day. I can't tell y'all about it.
You got some swag coming at us.
You know, I always got swag.
Change belt to deep to right center field, and that will fly away. My, oh my!
Let me ask you about Jackie Robinson Day. What does that mean when somebody says, what's Jackie Robinson Day mean to Ken Griffey Jr.? How do you answer that?
It means everything. It should mean everything to baseball. If it wasn't for him, there's a lot of people who wouldn't be able to play.
Baseball refreshing itself once more with new players, eager men. Among them a talented athlete from the University of California. His name was Jackie Robinson.
Baseball's a sport that everybody can play. You know, it's not like basketball where you got to be a certain type. You know, football where, you know, they're looking at certain builds. Baseball is the only sport. If you got heart, don't matter how big or small you are. You got heart, you can play, let's play.
Jackie Robinson set his sights and sent a stretching home run into the left field stands to put Brooklyn ahead 9-8.
Jackie Robinson capped the season by winning Rookie of the Year honors.
Like, you learn from the history of the game. And part of, you know, the Jackie Robinson, without all these guys, there would not be, you know, a Ken Griffey Sr., Ken Griffey Jr., you know, because who knows when the next time they were going to let an African-American baseball player in.
Yeah. No, it's powerful.
And, you know, the one thing that sticks out is, you know, Branch Rickey said, I want somebody who won't fight. I want somebody strong enough who won't fight. And that says a lot about him. It's like, there's a whole lot of people that wouldn't have put up with some of the stuff he'd have put up with.
Hey, it's good stuff with the kid. And when we come back, we'll take a look back where it all started for Jackie Robinson, the Kansas City Monarchs. We'll talk to Bob Kendrick, the president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, after the break.
MLB Tonight is presented by Camping World, making RVing fun and easy since 1966. Visit campingworld.com today.
Back on MLB Tonight, we continue to celebrate Jackie Robinson Day around Major League Baseball. And look, folks, if you have not been down to 18th and Vine District there in Kansas City and taken a tour of the great Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, you have to put that on your list of things to do. And back with Harold, I'm Fran, and we're pleased now to be joined by the president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, Bob Kendrick. Bob, always a pleasure spending a little time with you. So here we are, the 73rd anniversary of Jackie breaking the color line in Major League Baseball. I know you could tell a million stories, but just give me your thoughts here on where we are now in 2020 with Jackie Robinson and now where Major League Baseball is today.
Well, the great thing about it is that Major League Baseball has done a tremendous job of helping not only baseball fans, but people who are fans of American history, people who are fans of the civil rights story, and by and large, of helping them understand the significance of Jackie Robinson. And so we're very proud of the work that baseball has done. If there's an area that we would love to see maybe more heightened or emphasized, is the fact that Jackie's career began in the Negro Leagues. And that's why I think it's so important that we have this conversation today, because I do think that a lot of people think Jackie, y'all, just walked out of nowhere and started playing for the Brooklyn Dodgers. But as you all well know, his real rookie season was 1945 with the great Kansas City Monarchs. As a matter of fact, just right over my shoulder is a wonderful picture of Satchel Paige and Jackie Robinson, who were teammates in 1945. And so it all began here in Kansas City. And we're very proud of that fact from the standpoint that it was indeed the great city of Kansas City and the Negro Leagues that gave America arguably its greatest hero in Jackie Robinson. And so,
you know, Bob, I was going to say, I was talking earlier about the impact of all those players and the great players in the Negro Leagues that came after Jackie. Now, if it's not Jackie Robinson, we've heard it could have been Monty Irvin.
Yes.
Give us some insight into that part of the story.
Well, the interesting thing about it, and as you all well know, the first guy cannot fail. If the first guy fails, there is no second guy. And so we don't know how much longer this thing would have played out. It would have been so easy, guys, for the naysayers to say, see, I told you they weren't good enough to play in this league. Or if Jackie couldn't take the abuse, or whoever that subsequent individual was couldn't take the abuse, the naysayers would have said the same thing. See, I told you they couldn't handle it. So it was very important to have the right guy. And in this case, the right guy doesn't mean that he was the best ball player in the Negro League. It means that he was the best prepared player in the Negro League. And Harold, you touched on it. Yeah, there were other guys who could have likely done it, but the margin for error is very slim. Monty Irvin was the owner's choice to break the color barrier. If someone was going to break the color barrier, they had projected the great Monty Irvin. And Monty Irvin, guys, was a superstar in the Negro League. There was absolutely nothing that Monty Irvin could not do. I tell people all the time, I wish Monty Irvin, Major League Baseball had gotten Monty Irvin when he was 20, 21 years old.
Oftentimes when we talk Jackie Robinson, we talk about baseball breaking the color barrier, but this all happened even before the civil rights movement really got its legs under it. I mean, Jackie was a huge part of that, setting that up.
Well, we believe, and we make the bold assertion here, Fran, that Jackie Robinson's breaking of the color barrier wasn't just a part of the civil rights movement. It was the beginning of the civil rights movement in this country, because this predates those more noted civil rights occurrences. Now, everybody has not drawn that parallel between his breaking of the color barrier and civil rights, but we do. This is 1947, guys. This is before Brown versus the Board of Education. This is before Rosa Parks' refusal to move to the back of the bus. As the late, great Buck O'Neill would so eloquently say, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was only a sophomore at Morehouse College when Robinson signed his contract to play in the Dodgers organization. President Truman would not integrate the armed forces until a year after Jackie. So for all intents and purposes, this is what started the ball of social progress rolling in our country. Baseball. And our country literally jumped on the coattails of baseball. Missouri may be the only state where April 15th is actually recognized legally as Jackie Robinson Day. Now, we don't get the day off, but we still celebrate him.
We're working on it, Bob. We're working on it with your help. The great Bob Kendrick.
But we do recognize it. It is actually observed by the state constitution that Jackie Robinson, April 15th, is Jackie Robinson Day. I shared that with Sharon when she was here last year, and we presented her with the Jackie Robinson Lifetime Achievement Award, and she was blown away because she didn't know. But that's something that we were able to get done several years ago. So the great state of Missouri, the great city of Kansas City, absolutely continues to celebrate Jackie, as our nation will and should.
Bob, always a pleasure. Stay safe with your family, and we look forward to speaking to you soon. Bob Kendrick, the president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City. Going to take a break now on MLB Tonight. And when we come back, we'll get the thoughts of our Major League Baseball family on Jackie Robinson Day, 73 years after Jackie broke Major League Baseball's color barrier. That's next.
Home Plate Cam is presented by NTT.
Social media has been lit up all day here. The Royal is sending out a tweet celebrating a legend who forever changed the game. Thank you, hashtag Jackie42. And Harold, even though we're not playing games right now, I think MLB has done a great job celebrating Jackie.
Well, I think Dan said it best earlier in the show. Major League Baseball has done a terrific job of really wrapping their arms around this. It's been a special day, Dan, no doubt.
You know, hopefully, Harold, when baseball does resume, hopefully we can have all the players wear number 42 and not forget about April 15th.
All right, guys, I want one of these jerseys, man. One of these Brooklyn jerseys. For Harold and Dan, Fran, enjoy.